Welcome to Tobago, welcome to Ask Television Network, and welcome to a special interview. And when I say special, is you're going to find out why I use the word special at the end of the interview. And nevertheless, I'm here at the home of young Gerard Das. Now, Gerard Das, former Naparima College standout player, a player who has been representing Naparima College and football generally at a very high standard. Now, he has recently completed his studies and his career playing for Naparima College and is now planning to leave on a football scholarship. Today, we want to reminisce a bit about his career, how it started, and what's his goals, and where he see himself, you know, in the next couple of years in the sport of football. Gerard, it's a pleasure.
Hey,
and welcome
always.
to Ask Steve.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we saw you at Naparima College, you know, playing football, but I don't think much of us know or knew how you got into football and how it started for you.
All right.
How did you get into football? Who was the person or persons?
Well, it kind of runs in the family, you know, from my grandfather. Then my father.
Mr. Marquez?
Yeah, Mr. Marquez.
Mr. Marquez played football. I knew he was a cricketer. You know?
Yeah, he played all kind of sports, table tennis, everything.
Yeah.
So it kind of ran in the family. Then my dad, he played football as well, with Naparima College also.
Yeah.
And then I have an older brother who plays football as well. So it kind of ran in the family, and I had no choice. And from a young age, he said I used to be kicking everything. Anything that fell on the ground, I would kick it, you know, remotes, anything. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, you know, I started at Spitfire, which was in Skinner Park.
Yeah, I remember,
Spitfire
that's a long time.
with Coach McQuan. That's a long time. I can't even remember how old I was. But my dad, he used to help coach. So every Saturday and Sunday, we used to go down with him, and that's where I kind of started, you know, playing football. It wasn't a big academy or anything, but it was something, you know, where we had a couple of friends. We used to go and we used to play football Saturday morning, Saturday evening, and that's kind of where it started. And then after the age where I could see that I was getting better and I needed to move on, I went to Dunstan Williams, which is where I would say football really started. Football really started for me. That's at Mani Ramjan, and that was Saturday mornings. And I used to look forward to every Saturday morning when I buy a new boots. I used to look forward to Saturday morning to go and play with Dunstan, and that's where it kind of started. And then when I was with Dunstan, I was at probably age 6, 7, 8. And what Dunstan always used to do, he used to put me to play with the older kids. So I never played with my age group, and playing with older kids and bigger guys, you know, kind of got me better in the game. You know, I learned more. You know, it was a more competitive game, so it always pushed me, you know. And then after Dunstan was W Connection youth team. That was with Coach Leonson. That was when I was like 11. I started off playing striker, then left wing, then midfield. You know, that's where I learned most of the game. And then I continued with them until about 15, 16. You know, playing with the youth team, and then to the reserve league. And then I stopped the year I had CXC, and then I didn't fall back on after keep and stuff. And then that's when Naps came. Well, Naps was always into play after secondary school. I mean, after primary school. And then Naps was always into play, and then national team as well.
So, you know, what you can remember the year you represented the national team? You first called up?
Yeah, 2010, 2011, and 2012. Those were the years we were playing with national, and 2013 as well.
That
sorry.
was
Under 17.
Under 17.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
Oh, that was a great experience. We traveled the world. You know, I made a lot of friends, and then it also took me to the next level of football. So, you know, it also played a part with terms of respect. And how hard you had to work at the national level, then to bring that into club level and to excel over everybody, because I had that experience playing away in different countries, different types of football, you know. It was a different speed of football, a speed of play, and then what I tried to do was take everything that I learned from away from the clubs, even just looking at the teams play, I tried to bring that back, and that's where I kind of excelled over everybody. I had a little more than everybody that I could have brought to the table, you know.
Take me back to your days at playing at Naparima College. Some of the rare games that you know, the ones that up to this present time sitting here, you know, that will bring that, you know, satisfaction, you know.
All right, so definitely one of them was the under-14 national final. That game was played in QRC, I think, on their ground, yeah. And I was the captain of that team, and that game was a hard-fought game. I think they scored first, and it was 1-0. And then coming into the second half is then when we started to play real football, you know, with Jabari Mitchell, fellas like Martin Watson and thing. No, actually Martin Watson wasn't there under 14, no, sorry. But yeah, Jabari Mitchell, me, you know, Michael Bazio, and that game was real memorable to me because as a captain as well, that was my first national title in football. And I remember we had to come back from behind. I think Jabari scored 2 that game, and then Nicholas Dillon scored the finisher. And I remember that game for me personally because I started playing in the midfield, you know, throughout the game. And then later into the game when we took back the lead, the coach Gary Prescott, that was the coach at that time, he put me centre back, you know, to defend and to finish that game. And I remember working so hard that game to make sure that nothing happened, that I got cramps in my both calves at the same time, and I remember on the field I was cussing, I was tired, my 2 calves were cramping, and the referee wasn't even taking me on because he was trying to cheat for accuracy. But you know, that was one of the most memorable games because I remember that was hard work to win that game, boy. Yeah, it was a special game to me.
Now, looking back at your career, the last 2 years, I would think that you are fully satisfied. And when I say fully satisfied, because you ended more or less your college career playing 2 years in the Premier League, Panama College. And in the 2 years, you all won the league. And I think last year, in 2014, you all missed one of the cups. But in 2015, you all took everything. So more or less your career at college ended on a positive note. On a big bang. On a big bang, as you would say. What it was like for you playing before when they didn't have the Premier League, and comparing it now with the Premier League, where it was the cream of the colleges league. You all beat, I mean, you all beat big name teams that held reputations and and these schools that were dominant. You all swept them away. I think what I mostly liked about it was, before, you know, you wouldn't really get to play all the town teams, you know, all the teams from east, west, you know, and there was a big controversy about who has the best football, you know, if South has the best teams and if Town, and then bringing the Premier League into it now, everybody playing everybody, so there's no excuses. And that was the biggest thing for me and for everybody in South, because they say, now we get time to catch the Town teams, you know, the East teams, we now get to show them who have the real football. So starting on the Premier League was a big thing for us, because we knew we could have take our football out there, we could have showed them that, you know, South really, and I think I could say this because South really has the best teams, the best footballers. Yeah, because I think the top 4 teams this year, even last year too. All the South teams were above 5th, above 6th really. And you know, as you could see now that, you know, South really has, you know, some of the best footballers, and I think that was most important to us, because we could have come out and we could have shown all those big name teams, you know. In the first year in the Premier League, we beat St. Anthony's in their home ground. I remember this game, everybody's talking about it. Oh, they're going up to the Tigers and they're going in the Den, and they know it's going to be a hard game. And that game, we beat them 5-1 or 5-2 or something. Massacre, you know. And nobody was expecting that. And it was like, you know, you're finally getting to see what the South teams doing, coming up against all the Town teams, you know. So it's a good thing bringing all those. The Premier League I think is the best thing, and it's the way that the school football going now. I think it's some of the players that you eagerly look forward to coming up against?
You know, it was more the teams. I know in St. Anthony, my good friend, I could see we like this, me and Jep, you know, Kwesi Allen. I always look forward to coming up against him when Wooling was there too, Matthew Wooling. Because I played with him on the national team and we always used to give each other a stick. I always was excited to come up against Wooling. And then Fatima, I didn't have players who I wanted to come against. I wanted to come against Fatima because everybody was, Fatima would beat Naps and stuff. And when they come against them and to finally show them that Naps, you know, and the South teams have something that they don't, you know, it was good to prove them wrong, you know.
Tell us about the Naparima team, some of the players who, you know, you really like to be on the field with, who could give you that accurate pass, who could, you know, that with this eye contact, you know exactly where the ball is coming, and you know, things like that.
All right, well, for sure, Jabari Mitchell, he and I kind of grew up playing football together with W Connection. Martin Watson as well, you know. Michael Basdio, you could say the four of us, we were on that same wavelength, and me, Jabari, and Moko, which is Martin Watson. We used to play midfield together, and when we were in that midfield, it was like just gelling, boy. If I go here, Jabari cover for me. We all had that understanding because we grew up together. We used to always lime together, you know. So when we were playing, it was like smooth. It was like I didn't even have to talk. Sometimes I just say, "Hey, Barry," and he put his ball exactly where I wanted it. Sometimes he said, "Das," you know, Moko thing, and that's how we used to operate. And that's where in W Connection days we kind of used to run the midfield because. So yeah, that was definitely some players I enjoyed playing with.
Well, what about coaches? You know, all coaches have a different style, right?
Yeah.
And I think you when you started at NAPS, you had who were the coaches there at that time?
When I started at that time, I was when I now came in, it was Cooper and Dunstan. But I wasn't playing at that time. I was in Foreman. I was with Shadden and all of them, and you know the big players. And then it was after that, I believe it was Leonson Lewis. And then Zé, I can't remember his last name.
The Brazilian?
Yeah, the Brazilian. Seabra, right. And then after Zé was, oh boy, I think Zé was in there for 2 years. After Zé was Angus. I think so. Yeah, after Zé was Angus. And also Coach Gary. He was more like the under 16 and the under 14 coach. Yeah.
What sort of, when all these coaches must have given you something different, right? You started under Dunstan, and then you came. I think when you played on the national team, Cooper was the coach.
Coach Cooper,
right?
and
so you had a feel of all these coaches and all these coaches. And what, if you have to, in a nutshell, if you had to tell me like what positiveness you gained from these coaches?
Okay, let me see. So. There's plenty of coaches,
all of them would have impacted something.
Yeah. Definitely. There's plenty of them. I don't even know if I'll be able to mention all, but Cooper was more, he taught me that more, that serious, you know, that hard working, you know, when it's time to play, you could play, but you had to come to do hard work. He was more the part of the football where it was, you know, you had to work for what you get. The toughness, you know. And then Leonson was more the attacking. He used to teach me all the things, where to go, how to attack, you know, you had to be aware on the field. And then one that was real special to me when I was in W Connection, Clyde Leon.
Yes.
You know, he was the assistant for Zé, and I mean, to me, he kind of taught me the positioning of the field. That time I was playing midfield, and he kind of taught me all about the midfield and where your positioning is and how to play, and you know, the whole personality of a professional player. You know, I kind of got that from Clyde Leon, and I don't know if he knows that, but you know, I talk to him all the time on a regular. Just the other day I messaged him.
I know you will have a lot to say about Eve, because I think I would say that 2 of your best years.
Yeah, it was with Eve.
It's 14 and 15.
Yeah, he was always the coach to bring it out there. You know, you could have been comfortable around him. You know, he had a great positive attitude, and I think also what Coach Cooper taught me was a team is a reflection of their coach. So, you know, the national team was a serious team because Cooper was a serious team. And then with Coach Angus, you know, it was fun and games, but when it was time to get serious, you had to get serious, you know. I think personally, for youth players, that is the kind of coach you need, you know. Somebody who make you feel comfortable, you know. He laughing and kicking with you in training. But not in training, before training. But you see, when you reach into the training session, you have to take it serious. And that kind of taught me a lot, you know, the switch. You're joking around, and then, all right, now time for business, you know. And then after we train and we work hard, we could all laugh and have fun. And that was important for the team, and that just brought along a camaraderie with all of us, you know.
But now your career now is taking a different direction, right? Because you acquired a scholarship. Now you're going abroad both with your academics and football. What is the plan that you have implemented for the next couple of years? You know, are you going to the same college that your brother is, or?
No, my brother is at my brother is at Howard, but I could say I'm going to school with another one of my brothers, Martin Watson, is at that same school. We're actually going to be rooming together.
Okay, that's good.
So it's a blessing, really, to me.
So it's a continuation of...
A continuation, you know. It kind of is like, you know, it's like God kind of pushing in that direction, you know. You have you have your partner who you play football with all along, and we always used to talk, hey, you know, if we would have go to the same school and things, we'd have be real good and
sometimes your words, you just know what
to do. But we talking that, and I talking that, and I saying, that's probably not going to happen, but I wish it would. And I ain't even try to make it happen like that. It just kind of pushed together, and I say, well, hey, this is meant for me. And then with two of us rooming together with one of my partners who I used to run everywhere, we used to work hard, so it was a kind of blessing for me to go there with him. And university was always in the plan for me, really. After school, it was just to acquire that scholarship.
Now, what is your career plan for football?
Well, definitely is to make the most of that university, because that's where, you know, you'll be seen. And hopefully, you know, however it goes, is to get a contract. I'm not even going to specify to somewhere. Once I get a contract, you know, hopefully out of Trinidad, you know, because Trinidad football not all that as yet. But anywhere, the MLS, Europe, you know, anywhere that I could just continue with the football, and then also is to get my education too.
Yeah, because after football you have to fall back on something.
Yeah, if it do work out, you know.
What about setting your eyes on making the national? Maybe
well, that's always there, you know. Right now I'm just waiting for, you know, training to start back to get back into the national team, because that's where most of the time, where as a player you'd be seen, especially coming from a country like Trinidad and Tobago, a small country, you know. It's more the national teams they're looking at. So, you know, I was with the national under 20, but I wasn't in the final team. I was in the pool right before the selection. I didn't make that final selection, but you know, I was still young. I was probably the youngest player on that team. So I still have another opportunity with the under 20, and that's what I'm looking forward to, you know, and to keep playing for Trinidad and to represent the country, you know, and to hopefully help the football become bigger and better, you know.
Up to this present time, you have had a very successful career in football. You know, a career that, you know, you can be proud of. You represented a school that dominates. You made national teams. You understand? I'm sure you don't want to take this opportunity, because I'm sure that there is not just one person who was instrumental in where you are today. On the verge of leaving the country to travel to a university, I'm sure you would like to take this opportunity to really thank these people publicly. I know it might be a long list, but in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, I would say the people who helped me the most, you know, I have to thank God first of all. That's the big one. My parents, my family always had my back. After I lost games, you know, they would come home, you know, all right, you'll get them next time, do this, do that. I want to thank Miss Natalie Charles. She was the equipment manager with the national team, and after the national team, I used to wake up on mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to go to the gym before school, and she kind of helped me in that next step to get the physical attributes of the game. In the gym, we used to work all the time, and she knows how much work we used to put in, and now she comes like a second mother to me, you know. She gives me advice. I would like to thank Coach Cooper. He really helped me with the football. Coach Gary Prescott, Coach Dunstan Williams, where it all started. Coach Angus Eve, you know, a lot of coaches, Coach Leonson Lewis. So much people to thank, you know, but everybody who I didn't mention, you know, and you all know you all had a part to play. I thank you all, because I wouldn't be here if you all didn't help me out, you know.
Now, finally, before I let you go, at the awards function, most people, if not all, were in agreement that you were supposed to be Player of the Year. It didn't happen. We saw them nominating an individual who team placed, I think, 10th in the league. We're not knocking the player, because the player the player has nothing to do with it.
But it is something you have to talk about.
The player has nothing to do with it. So we're keeping the player out of it. But for those who were on the selection committee, you select a player to name Player of the Year,
whose team, you know,
finished 10th, didn't even make a finals. Okay, we can agree with the women's selection, because Faisal, they won everything.
Exactly.
Right, so that is all well and good.
Exactly.
But what were the criteria to name that individual Player of the Year?
You know,
we're not even saying, Jared, that's supposed to be Player of the Year. But from the team that won a clean sweep, everything, the Player of the Year should have come from that team.
You know?
Right? I mean, what's your take on that?
I mean, it's real confusing, and kind of, I don't even know what to take on it, but it's how could you. All right, Brent Sam, great player. I know him personally, you know. I talk to him all the time. He was on the national team with me. He's a great player, you know. And I know he has done a lot for his team.
Yeah.
But how could you give somebody from a team who hasn't really, didn't even make it past the first round in Intercol, you know?
Right.
And that kind of confused me. And even self, if it wasn't me, I would have liked one of my players, one of my teammates, if not Isaiah Hudson, even self Anderson Toussé, one of the defenders, you know, don't have to be no goal scorer because
I find Smith had number 19.
Smith, for me, my whole back line, my whole four, Rondell Payne, Stephon Smith, Anderson Toussé, and Nicholas Thomas, that's the best back line in the whole league. Nobody could take that away from them, you know. And even if it wasn't one of our goal scorers, it had to be one of our defenders because, you know, people only see the goal scorers, but, you know, they defended and stopped the goals.
When I saw it, I was in total shock because, you know, just to see. Finally, is there any parting words that you would like to leave with your school, Naparima College, and the players that you'll be leaving behind?
Yeah, that's a tough one, you know. Always goodbyes are always hard, but I think in Naparima College, I had my best memories, you know, everything, all the friendships that I made, and my teammates, you know, that was a great team. I call them brothers. And, you know, hopefully that when I go away and I come back, we could always, you know, link up and, you know, still enjoy ourselves because at the end of the day, it's a brothership we had, it's a family, it's a kind of love for everybody, you know. So I had a great run at Naps. I couldn't ask for anything better, and, you know, it'll be tough to leave, but I know I have another journey to go to. And, you know, I know they would want to see me do my best, so, you know, it's always hard to say bye. But, you know, that's how it is.
Gerard, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, it always is.
I wish you great success.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Most of all, you're in your academics and your career as a footballer. May God, you know, keep you safe from injury, because we know from time to time injuries are things that plays a major part in footballers. So we really hope that you stay injury free, and we hope to see you, you know, at the highest level in football, but more so wearing national colours again.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes.
Well, there you heard it from Jared Das, as we hear, and that's why I told you it's going to be a special interview, because he's leaving to take up a scholarship abroad and to further his studies and his career as a footballer. But he left lasting memories in his last 2 years playing at Naparima College. And we who saw him play know, you know, the type of player he is, where we know he's going to do well. So again, Acts 25, on behalf of myself and Acts 25, we want to wish him great success. And we know we're going to see a lot more of Jared Das. So we hope that you enjoyed this interview. Stay locked on to Acts Television Network. See you soon.
All right.